Last night, I ripped into a full case of 2025 Topps Finest. I want to show you guys all of the hits as well as review whether or not we were able to be profitable. Now, what I did was called a rip and flip over on Whatnot, where I take all the boxes, I open them live on stream, and then we auction off all the singles that we hit starting at $1. We don't do any of the base cards. We don't do any of those, regular, just common rookies, vets, etc. I know that I could probably maximize profits by doing that, but I also want to recognize my customers and I give them all those free cards. The base cards still go to the customers. It's just not, auctioning them off. So I've got a stack of some hits here that I want to show you guys, and then I'm going to break into the numbers and show you whether or not we were able to make money and whether or not this was worth it. So starting off, we have a few cards that you guys have already seen before. We've got the Jose Ramirez on the rare oil spill, the Roki Sasaki purple, we have the Roki Sasaki on the smashing through case hit, as well as the Justin Henry Malloy on the gold RPA. So those were from the box that we did as a preview. And now we've got some cards that you guys have not seen. These are in no particular order, but some very, very cool ones. So Schwellenbach on the purple. Kobe Mayo at 25 was a nice one. Tucker at a 99. One of the things that I really liked about ripping this case is that Finest, really cool Jose Reyes on the orange auto out of 25. Finest really just was the color, the parallels were just flowing. And this is not even nice Ben Rice here out of 25. That was another one of the nicer hits out of the case. But you just saw so many nice numbered cards. The checklist is definitely, I think, a little easier to pull hits out of compared to like a Topps Chrome. And you get a lot more numbered cards than a Topps Chrome. Very nice Bernie Williams auto. That's a very, very cool one. So, does it provide as much value as Topps Chrome? Spoiler, I made more money on the Topps Chrome case, but we also pulled a couple of really big cards in the Chrome case, specifically the Shohei Ohtani Red Wave out of 5. This case, we didn't pull anything massive. We had the Kobe Mayo, that obviously was a very, very good one. The Manny Machado Pearl, these are very cool refractors. Those are pretty popular. Dylan Cruz out of 75 was nice. David Justice Gold Auto, Mason Wynn. This is in one of the first boxes. The James Wood out of 200, great looking card. Adley, another Acuña. The Skeens is nice. And then this one is probably I would say the biggest quote unquote individual card. The Schoolboy Orange color match on the uncommon. But as you see, there wasn't any monsters in there. It just was a top to bottom, solid case, rip, lots of cool cards, lots of nice numbered things. So let me give you some more thoughts on the rip and flip after I give you the breakdown on how we did. I'm going to put these cards aside, though, because Mrs. Clever Cuban has to go pack these cards up, and then I'm going to give you guys the numbers breakdown on how we did and some closing thoughts on 2025 Topps Finest. All right, and so now let's talk about the numbers. Let's look at the details and the data. Overall, I'm going to throw up some screenshots on the screen so you guys can see the receipts and numbers and this and that. But the case on the Topps website, bought it direct, cost us $2,482.32. So just under $2,500 for the case. That's one thing, though, is that this is 8 boxes, basically just a little over $300 a box. At $300 a box, we were able to make money here. Had I bought this at market, we're going to go on the low end of market at $450. At market of $450, we would have needed to walk away with $3,600 in terms of breaking even. That's pretty difficult. That's a little bit harder to do compared to getting it at MSRP, retail, whatever you want to call it. And at $300, I think it's a decent buy. At $450 to $500, that's a little questionable. I think the market has jumped up too high on this product personally, even though I do think it's a great product. So all in all, though, just under $2,500 for the case. We then sold. We had a total of 166 individual lots that sold, whether it be a single or, we did some lots of cards, whether it's just, a couple of cards of not huge players in terms of inserts, things like that. We did $3,419 in total sales, but because we're selling on an online platform, there are some fees associated with that. In total, we walked away, when all was said and done, with $3,012.24. So, grand total, we made just over $500 in profit, which I'll take it. To make $500 opening a case is an absolute win in my book. It's fun to be able to open it. It's definitely not the same profit margin that I make when I do, a regular single stream, things like that. But there is more to running and growing a business than just maximizing profit. If I wanted to maximize profit, I would have, done a break with this. Had I just sold the boxes, I would have made more money. But that's not what it's about. This was about having fun, about putting on a good stream. And I know, just purely by looking at my follower count, by looking at the chat and what people were saying, I got in new people who had never been to my stream before, who said, hey, Alex puts on a pretty good show. This is really fun. I like how he's not yelling about comps. I like how he's not yelling about, we're not even halfway there, chat, put the W's in chat, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And those people said, hey, he puts on a pretty good show. Maybe I should come back on Sunday for his next stream, which, if you guys want to check that out, scan the QR code on the screen. That'll get you $15 off. But bringing in those new customers and creating it's in some way content that people realize and say, hey, this is pretty fun, I enjoy this, is valuable in and of itself. It's not valuable directly in terms of dollars and cents, but it is really valuable in terms of growing our following, community, etc. And that then leads to more profits in the long run, because your brand is very, very important. The reason that I had success on Whatnot, I don't want to call it overnight success because it was not overnight success, but the reason why I had, pretty good viewership, etc. right away was because I had an existing brand and because you put in the work. Now, I did that through creating content and this and that, but doing things like this can be really, really positive. So would I have made more money just selling the boxes or breaking the boxes? Absolutely would have. I saw guys on TikTok yesterday who were breaking boxes of finest at $650 a box. That's insane. I would have made so much more money had I done that. And I know that with my following, I probably could get close to that. But it's not about maximizing the profits in the short term. It's about creating a sustainable business model. And I think that this works. And I know that my audience really enjoys the rip and flips. Not all products work for rip and flip. 2025 Archive Signature Series. That's an $80 box, which is not that expensive. But you get one auto. How many autos are really going to cover that $80? Not that many. That's a product that would not work for the rip and flip. However, Finest, where you're getting, 60 cards a box, you're getting 10 nice looking inserts, you're getting 8 numbered cards, 2 autos, etc. That provides enough value that I'm able to do this. And sure, are there instances and have there been instances on the rip and flip where I've actually lost money? Absolutely. But sometimes you got to lose money to make money. Not everything is profitable right away. And for this, we had a solid but unspectacular case is what I'd say. Pulled some good cards. The Scuba Orange was definitely a nice one. The Kobe Mayo out of 25. The Ben Rice out of 25. But we didn't pull any big name autos. We didn't pull any huge, low numbered cards. The Roki Sasaki that we sold, that was the smashing through case hit. That one did like $86, I think. The cheapest on eBay right now is $800. It's not going to sell for $800, but I think that person that got it for $86 probably got a deal. Could I have gotten more by selling it on eBay? Definitely probably could have. But that's also, I think, part of the fun of the rip and flip. I also have inserts that, it's a regular insert that sells for $15. It's not going to hold up on that price, I guarantee it. So, to my point on Whatnot in general is you're going to win some and you're going to lose some. I'm fine to lose on the Roki because I know that I won on other things. And at the end of the day, we grew our community, we had fun, and made a little bit of money for our time. So, overall, the Finest rip and flip was successful. After ripping into the first box, I think it was a little less successful than I thought it was going to be from a profit standpoint, but super, super fun rip. If you can get a box at closer to MSRP, I think it's a great rip. I think it's a lot of fun. At $450 to $500, go buy those singles. You're going to do way, way better doing it that way. So, going to have some more content coming out soon for you guys. Got some educational content. Today, right now, you guys should be able to see episode 2 of the Hobby Handbook, so that should be a really, really good time. I'll have that link down below at the podcast form, so if you guys want to go check that out, would appreciate that. And I appreciate all you guys that liked, subscribed, came over to the Rip and Flip and supported. I have the stream on Sunday, so if you want to come see what a regular Clever Cuban Carb stream looks like, come check it out. Appreciate you guys checking out the video as always. We'll catch you in the next one.